wasn't present this afternoon. And I believe the services were today.
Earlier today.
Oh, earlier today. All right, we will begin with the solicitation of public comments. Is there anyone here from the public? Would you give us your name, please, sir?
James Morgan.
Mr. Morgan, you have the floor.
Okay, do you want me to go up there to the mic?
You are welcome to stand where you are, if you wish.
Well, thank y'all so much for hearing me today. My name is James Morgan. I'm a Rapides Parish resident of District G. I have a wife, a 4-year-old son, and an 8-month-old daughter. For several years, we have enjoyed using our local library here at Westside Regional. Recently, my wife and son had a disturbing experience related to the content of a book in the beginner reader section on a low shelf designed for children to explore here in the children's room. However, after some research, I discovered that the resolution for my grievance would have to begin with adjustments to the Rapides Parish Library Collection Development Policy. I'm going to try to be as concise and narrow in scope to respect everybody's time, so I'd like to raise 2 objections today. I want to assure you that I'm very grateful for this opportunity to speak, and I mean absolutely no disrespect to any of the following statements or concerns. The first thing, the RPO collection policy states this library holds censorship to be a purely individual matter and declares that while all are free to reject themselves books and other materials of which they do not approve, they cannot exercise this right of censorship to restrict the freedom of others. Appendix B of the collection policy states the freedom to read is guaranteed by the Constitution. I commend the library for these statements as well as some others that protect diversity of opinion, thoughts, and ideas. These ideals have been monumental in the preservation of free thought in our society. However, on page 1 of the RPO collection development policy, we can find a paragraph that does not align with the United States Constitution, is not supported by free export opinions on free speech, and is also not affirmed by Library Bill of Rights in Appendix A or the freedom to read of Appendix B. The policy states the library will generally avoid the selection of materials that include hate speech, which is defined as speech, gesture, or conduct, writing or display that may incite violence or prejudicial action against an individual group. This sounds great in principle, and I certainly don't condone hatefulness towards anyone. However, the issue with hate speech is it means different things to different people. Recently, social media platforms have punished groups or individuals on the grounds of hate speech for believing there are 2 genders and that someone cannot change his or her gender. One side sees this as simple truth, and the other side sees it as hate speech. This is just one example. We cannot consistently regulate or define what classifies as hate speech, and the United States Supreme Court has repeatedly refused to overturn the right to hateful speech. In Mattal v. Tam in 2017, there was a unanimous decision from the United States Supreme Court striking down an attempt to regulate hate speech. In the majority opinion, Justice Samuel Alito wrote, speech that demeans on the basis of race, ethnicity, gender, religion, age, disability, or any other similar ground is hateful, but the proudest boast of our free speech jurisprudence is that we protect the freedom to express the thought that we hate. I find it inconsistent that the library policies invoke the First Amendment to prevent censorship and then add a paragraph that, in the words of Justice Alito, strikes at the heart of the First Amendment. While I don't wish for there to be any hateful speech in library content, and I want to make that clear, hate speech cannot be clearly defined and agreed upon. Therefore, I would like to call on the board to remove the paragraph about hate speech from the Rapides Parish collection policy. Second thing, last thing. I will begin my second point by once again affirming something in the policies that I feel strongly about. On the final page, the policy states, with respect to the use of library materials by children, the decision as to what minors may read, view, or listen to is the responsibility of their parents or guardians. I commend this policy that allows parental control and does not include teachers or librarians. The library policies support the Library Bill of Rights Appendix A, which notably is not a real bill and was not created by a government legislature. Article 5 states a person's right to use a library should not be denied or abridged because of origin, age, and that's the word I want to focus on, background reviews. In 1996, the controversial use of the word age was apparently challenged and reaffirmed by the ALA Council. The Library Bill of Rights and the RPO collection policies appear to claim that small children and adults should be treated with equality, adding this statement to which children would be subjected. Serious works with present and honest picture of some problem or aspect of life will at times be controversial, but they will not be excluded because of visual format, coarse language, or frankness. Whether the policy acknowledges censorship of children's material, it does exist. Everyone in here would agree that the F word should not be present in the beginner reader section where a 6-year-old can pick it up and read it, especially without parents having an opportunity to censor it. the Library Bill of Rights, it says nobody's right to use the library should be abridged, irrespective of age, is not what is currently being practiced in Rapid Parish libraries, and is not something that should be practiced. I would like to call on the board to abandon the use of the word age in Article 5 of the Library Bill of Rights and any subsequent affirming language throughout the collection policy. I would like to see an acknowledgement of standards for children's reading material and a plan for creating a clear process of acquiring children's material that meets community standards for appropriateness. I would like to be able to let my 4-year-old son look through books in the children's room without worrying that he will accidentally be exposed to inappropriate images or content. In conclusion, I'm not saying that anyone here would have bad intentions, but the way the policies are currently written, someone could appeal to the policies to say that an inappropriate children's book cannot be censored, and then they can also appeal to the same policies to claim that a children's book that disagrees with their ideologies is hate speech and can be removed. This is dangerous, and I would like to call on the board to take action to reform these areas of the library collection policy. And yesterday I was reading an article in the Semi-Focus, and I thought it was a great article. It was Carla Kirby did it. She did a great job, and they're talking about the preschool outreach program. And she said, we have some amazing services, but I'll start with a wonderful program called EOP. It's a preschool outreach program, and our manager is Keisha White. She's amazing. So this is a service where we take bags and materials like books, movies, finger plays, and puppets out to the daycare centers, Head Starts, and other similar places. It appears to me that right now there are no standards for what is censored with children. From what this reads like to me is that I can't just make the decision not to go to the library. The library is bringing the books to my kids. I can send my kids to a private daycare, and the library could show up, give my kid a book that I have not seen, and then the library can also appeal to their same policies to say that we can't censor children's material because their right to the library will not be abridged irrespective of age. So that's the end of my speech. If you have any questions for me, you can certainly ask me, and I can leave my contact info as well. That's it.
Well, Mr. Morgan, we'd like to first thank you for your comments. I would ask if you would state your concerns again, please. I heard 1 and 2 for the record so that we may have them correctly. And if you would leave a written synopsis of your concerns, that way the board and the appropriate areas can review them and address them as necessary. I would say again, thank you. We take your comments seriously. Did you ask for the removal of an item? Did I hear that?
I did not. I was going to, and I went to check the policies, and I saw that the way the policies were written, this was not going to be a winning battle for me. It had to be addressed with the policies, because the way the policies are written, you cannot censor children's material. It's irrespective of age. Their right to the library cannot be abridged irrespective of age. So I'm calling for 1, that we remove that from our policies, because whether we acknowledge that we're doing that or not, there is a standard for kids material that we have right now. It's happening. So I would like for there to be clear standard as far as what that is, what's appropriate for children and what's not.
Okay.
And then the second thing was the hate speech thing. Because it cannot be clearly defined, I don't think that needs to be in our policies. It's not in the Library Bill of Rights. It's not in the freedom to read, and it's not backed up by our Constitution. So I would say remove the hate speech paragraph, and then remove age or disregard the age part of the Library Bill of Rights, and set clear standards for what is appropriate for children and what's not. And then once those standards are in place, then we can talk about specific books and what meets those standards and what doesn't.
Have we gotten those concerns? Or does
Yes.
he need to, okay, so
We have
don't.
recorded them, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, do y'all need anything else from me?
We do not.
Okay, thank y'all so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we shall move on to the next item on our agenda, which is board member reports. Are there any board member reports this afternoon? Hearing none, we will ask for the approval of the April minutes. I trust that everyone has had an opportunity to review the April minutes. Are there any corrections? Any questions?
I so moved.
Thank you. I was going to call for a motion next.
Sorry.
They're ready to go.
They're ready to go. The next item on our agenda is the financial report. Ms. Dubrow.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I believe y'all have the report in front of you at this time. All right, on the balance sheet, we are going through just our basic monthly. The only thing I want to draw your attention to is the liabilities. If you'll notice, the accounts payable is a negative because we have all the credits sitting with AT&T and CenturyLink that actually outweighs the payables we have in the books at the moment. So, if you notice, our total liability was only $853 because of the balance out. Now, a lot of the employee deductions got paid at the very first of May because we had a payroll at April 30th. So, does anybody have a question on the balance sheet? That's our basic revenue. We've got most of our revenue in at the moment. So there's not a lot new. No questions?
Please tell me again, what did you say at first, total liabilities?
Yes, ma'am. In the middle section where it says
Yes.
liabilities,
Yes.
you'll notice it's only $853 on the total end.
Okay.
Because we have such a large credit out there that we actually owe less to other people than what's owed to us.
Sounds good to me.
All right?
Place to be.
So our operating statement, the first section is the revenue, and you'll notice the E-rate refunds for the month was $6,500, and that was basically our bigger one on top of the ad valorem tax that's trickling in. Anybody have questions on this one? All right, we'll go on to the expenses. This month, I'm happy to say that it's basically been the same expenses we've been seeing. We do see the increase in gasoline prices and utilities. And the only other thing I can see in here was we are going to be over budget on our building rents and the parking lot rent as the discussions with the town of Boyce have fallen through. So we will have to continue paying for our contract on the building.
Oh, my. How long do we have with the contract?
2025, I believe.
Oh, my gosh.
But we are exploring other options.
Who do we pay?
Mr. Dabney, he is
Property
the owner of the property, and then the town of Boyce for the parking lot.
But who's using the building?
At this moment, it is currently vacant, but it is for our use, so we are exploring the possibility of it being some extra storage space that we may need. We at least are gonna make use of it and not let it sit there. So, we're still exploring some opportunities and looking through the contract and doing what we can, but in the meantime,
So is the owner giving a particular reason as to why he isn't agreeable to negotiate?
he is agreeable to the fact that we pay him in full the contract for the, up to 2025 at once. That's the only way he'll let us out.
Oh, my, oh.
And then, of course, that includes the increase in insurance that he would have to pay to cover it, and a few other things that would go along with it.
Can we sublease?
No. We looked to do that option as well, and in the contract it says we are not allowed to.
That's what we were originally exploring the option of doing, but that is not going to be permissible.
So, in the meantime, we will continue paying our bill through the contract, but we will have to make some allowances there as we were anticipating us ending in March.
I believe Ms. Cox has a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What did you say at the very first about following through? What, I missed that part.
We were in talks with the town of Boyce to take over the contract.
I said,
That fell through.
yes, because they bought a different building. Did you know that?
I did not actually, but there was other reasons as well.
I'm sure.
For it come followed through.
I'm sure. That's what I was told anyway.
And it could be because ours fell through is why they went ahead and looked at other buildings. But everything else is rolling pretty well. We are maintaining our budget as we are supposed to. Does anybody have any questions?
Any other corrections or questions? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion. To accept the report. Good report.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
Thank you, ma'am.
It has been moved in second, and so the motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Dubrow. Thank you. Ms. Celeste Reach Harper is the next person on our agenda for a report.
Yes.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, and I will keep this brief. Good news, our millage vote passed with a 68 percentile approval rating, which was higher than any of the other taxes that were on the ballot. So I'm very proud of the faith that our community has in their library system. I've communicated to the staff that this is not only a belief in existing services, but the belief in our potential and what our next decade of service will be. So we take that as a bit of a bolster, but also a commitment to our community. Special thanks to the Friends of the Library and the RPL Staff Association. They provided sponsorship for a very nice millage watch party, which we held at the Wayback Arcade. It was something a little different, but I think everyone appreciated having something to do while they were waiting for the election return. So we really appreciated the Staff Association and the Friends of the Library providing that. We have recently reviewed our procedures regarding book challenges, and all concerned patrons are, of course, as you witnessed earlier, invited to complete the appropriate forms and have their opinions heard. Decisions are ultimately made by the director with appeals to the board possible. We do apply the same set standards, which are the common standards for libraries throughout our nation, and what is appropriate to ensure that all communities within our larger community are represented in their collection and have access to the materials that they need. So that is our primary goal. We have several additional projects going on right now with our Boyce branch. A few bits and bobs that I was not pleased with the construction, so those are being corrected. They all should be done by the end of the month. I don't know if any of you have been to the King branch lately. Our staff there is incredibly bright, but now they're even brighter. Our facilities team, James Lassard and his crew, Will and Larry, they replaced all of the light bulbs with a more efficient model that really has improved visibility, and it's a much nicer, it's much nicer in the building, and he's doing that at all of the branches, but King was one of the first that was completed. We have a little bit of additional news. We, of course, have the LLA conference, which will be held here in Alexandria. It is July 7th through the 9th. So if you are interested in attending, please let me know. I will get you registered. I am conference chair, so I'm going to be very busy, but I would love to see you attend. We have some excellent sessions and some phenomenal pre-conferences. Something that is not included in here because it just happened a few days ago, I have been selected to be a speaker in Monterey, California for the Internet Librarian and Information Management Professionals Conference. I'm going to be presenting about the value of social services and mental health support in cooperation with community agencies via libraries. I'm talking about what we did with the Central Louisiana Human Services District and with CASA during the shutdown and with the day-long virtual seminar we hosted, as well as some of the other initiatives that we've taken on to provide support resources for our communities. So, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Solis. Ms. Lene is not present, but did she leave a report? Ms. Lene Mouton?
I included her items, which were the updates to the lighting. We are experiencing a slight need of coverage. Unfortunately, we've had some illness and some family members passing in our staff, and so Lene has really stepped into her role in a hands-on way as direct services coordinator and filled in at branches and assisted with that. We are currently hiring for a new position, which is a floating clerk. We've found that finding substitutes is very difficult because most people want a guarantee of steady hours per week and benefits, which is completely, that makes absolute sense. So instead of seeking additional substitutes, we're currently seeking floating clerks who would be willing to move among branches, and because the training is the same. So that's what we're currently seeking to hire for. That's also sort of Jackie's update as well.
All right, that takes care of item number 9 and item number 10. Item number 11 is programming and outreach, and Carla is not here, but we have someone in her place.
Good afternoon. I'm Karen Riley Simmons. I'm one of the Adult Services Program Managers. And I'm filling in for Carla. As you can see, I am not Carla. I am Karen. The Programming and Outreach Report for May 2022. The Programming and Outreach Department has been very busy this past month. The Preschool Outreach Department, POP, is finally being allowed back into many daycare centers, so their deliveries have picked up. Our programming department has participated in many community events, including Earth Day at the zoo and Riverfest downtown. Between those 2 events alone, we reached several hundred people with library information and hands-on activities. We have also had many successful library programs, particularly the adult painting classes are happening all around the parish at this point, and they have been very well attended. We also were honored to host the Louisiana Poet Laureate, Mona Lisa Saloy from Dillard University in New Orleans. She gave a talk at Westside Regional in cooperation with LSUA's Kavanaugh Lecture Series, and she also presented a writing workshop at the main library. Both were very well attended. Right now, we are full steam ahead with preparation for summer reading program. The theme for this year is Oceans of Possibility, and the dates for the program will be June 1st through July 31st. We're thrilled to have in-person programming again for summer reading, yay. We will also have incentives for all ages, encouraging all of our patrons to read more books this summer. And that's all.
Thank you much, Ms. Dimmons. And moving right along, I do see Miss Janie here. you are next up, please.
I'll just
Public
stand here,
relations.
if that's okay. I don't have a big report. I sound like a broken record every time I come here about the internet. I promise you, we are still working on it. We have made progress, and I can't wait for the day that I come in and tell you what was done and we solved it. And that will happen. One of our big projects that we have been working on is adding memory to a lot of the circulation in all staff computers. And we're almost done. That's a huge project to touch all the computers. But we're almost done there, and I just wanted to let y'all know that we are busy. We're doing stuff, and that was one of our big projects. Do y'all have any questions for me or comments? Okay, thank y'all.
I'm sorry, I said public relations for Janie, and it's actually Jennifer does public relations. Please forgive me, but we know who we're talking to.
Okay, so we've been really busy like everyone else at the library. We're working on summer reading program. We're promoting the Heart of Sinlaw lectures, Zoo Passes, Sinlaw Authors Club, Local Author of the Month, our May and June programs. I've sent out email blasts with our new book request list also. We have some really neat things coming up in June that we haven't had before. I had the opportunity to go on KALB to talk about it today, but we're having plant swaps. So if people are interested in gardening and they have too many of one plant or they don't like another, they can visit one of our locations in June. You'll have to look on the calendar. I don't have them all memorized. And swap out plants with other patrons. I think that's really, it's awesome. And then, of course, let's see, we have several book signings. They're not on here, but we have several book signings coming up in June that I think are exciting. We'll be having local authors, Bill Sumrall, Shakondria Sibley. I don't know if she's Sinlaw local.
She grew up here, she's a daughter, she lives in New Orleans right now.
Right.
She was up here,
Yes. And then also, we have Aaron Hinkston III, who grew up here, and he'll be doing a book signing, I think at Westside on the 17th or 18th, and Shakondria is 17th.
Yeah, the same weekend.
Yes, and then Bill will be on the 21st. Let's see. We've been updating a lot of the print materials, and we'll be sending those out to the branches. We are streamlining our emergency communications. It's kind of important that we find another option other than just the phone tree in emergency situations, because if we can't get a hold of a person in the phone tree, I mean, you know, we might need someone else to get in contact with them. So Celeste will be able to send us all a message at one time, and just get the information out there of closures and whatnot.
That's also making my life easier. I'll add that addendum.
Yes.
That's making my life easier. In the past, I have multiple text groupings that I use so that all library employees are informed if there's an emergency closure, with the hurricanes in the past or with COVID. Now with the Remind
Yes.
app, which we're now using, everything is much more streamlined, and I can send out the full succession of messages immediately.
Right.
Is this similar to the ones that they use on college campuses?
Yes.
Okay.
That is exactly what it is.
And it's much more expedient if there is an immediate emergency.
Right. I know that you guys were probably missing our email newsletter each week, so we have reinstated that. We had so many requests for it. I felt like it was necessary, and we've had good results and engagement with that. We have 12,057 followers on social media. That's huge. When I started working here, we had under 2,000. So all of us together working hard to reach the community is paying off. And then this past month, across our social media channels, we reached over 75,000 people. And that's organically. I did not pay for advertising. That's amazing. Let's see, and then on the back, you can see all of our media relations. I think I missed over a couple, so they're not all on there. But it's picked up quite a bit since last time. So, does anyone have any questions for me? No? Okay, thank you.
That concludes the reports from various library staff members. Is there any old business? Is there any new business? Any other questions? If none, the next meeting will be June 21st here at Westside Regional Library. If there is no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming.
Thank you all, and please have some snacks on your way out.